Hello, all. In a few hours, I am about to secretly move out. I will be giving live updates and I will do my best to provide as much context. So here we go. I have been living with my boyfriend for a little over 6 years. From the very start, everything moved so fast and I jumped into a new life before thinking. There is so much to say about the 6 year history we have, mixed with good but a lot of bad. He is divorced with 2 kids. The kids were 10 and 8 when we started dating. Now they are 16, going on 17, and 14, going on 15. I have no kids and never married, but I do have the best lil pooch who is now 13 years old. We have been good the last 6 to 8 weeks, so this may come to a surprise. No, there were no recent big fights. We have been going about life in this routine. I wake up, go to work, come straight home, walk our dogs. Oh, we just adopted a new pup 7 months ago. Cook dinner, clean up, shower, and then bedtime. I do this every day. My boyfriend doesn't have a conventional job, so he can go weeks or months without working. I have a stable 9 to 6 job, Monday to Friday. So he's usually home while I'm at work. Today is the first time he is going to work since the year started. After 6 years with him, it has never been easy to talk about hard topics or my feelings. I always felt dismissed. To keep the peace, I always felt I had to play the part he expected and wanted. I can admit I am a bit of a people pleaser, and I do love very hard. I always gave him the benefit of the doubt and hoped for things to get better. At this point, I have isolated myself from my friends and family, and I don't even recognize myself anymore. I want to be a wife and mother more than anything, but I am afraid the way we are going is not leading there. I feel like my boyfriend is okay with just being boyfriend and girlfriend. I have given everything I can, helping with the kids, doing all the cooking and cleaning, and prioritizing him by giving him all of my free time. He gets sensitive when I try to make plans that don't involve him, and usually it leads to big fights until he guilts me to the point that I just gave up on a social life. As I get closer to my 40s, I am freaking out. Time is of the essence, and I don't want to wake up in my 40s with regret. There is so much to say about the dynamic, but long story short, I feel like the only way things will change is if there is a big change. We are both equally comfortable in this routine. I know I am not living life the way I truly want. I have tried to bring up ways to change the dynamic, but it usually leads to him telling me things that sound nice, but it never happens. He's all talk and no action. When I try to act on the things we talk about, it leads to huge blow-up fights. I do love him so much, but I just can't live life like this. My sister is moving, so there is an opportunity to take over her lease. My plan is to leave before he gets home from work and to write a letter explaining myself. I don't want to break up, but I need him to start taking me in this relationship seriously. I want us to be intentional and actually do the things we talk about. I wish I could talk to him instead of doing things this way, but I am afraid of a big fight happening. So, am I the a-hole for secretly moving out while he's at work? Top comments commenter 1. Are you moving out in an attempt to get him to change into the person that you want him to be? Because that's not going to work. If he was going to change, was capable of change, wanted to change, he's had 6 long years to do it, and you leaving isn't going to lead to any lasting change. He may be able to sustain a change for the short term to lure you back in, but it won't last, and as soon as you come back, he will backslide into the same old behaviors. You need to accept that you and he are just not compatible. If you want to leave, then that's great, but you need to do it for you, so that you can move on and have the kind of life and find the kind of person that you want, not in some misguided attempt to manipulate him into acting like the person you want him to be. Commenter 2. I agree with this statement. You aren't the a-hole, but should probably just break up with him to his face because you don't want the same things. That is okay. You shouldn't be made to feel like you have to hide leaving and shouldn't feel like leaving is going to give him magical feelings. Just do it for you so you can move towards what you want. Commenter 3. I just had to come back to this post and find out who were the idiots that told this poor woman to break up face to face. As someone that left a relationship quietly while the dude was at work, this was bad advice. Mind you, my guy never put hands on me, but he started displaying aggressive behaviors and I could see where crap was headed. So I decided to take no chances. Commenter 4. The top comments here validated original poster's initial choice to leave without warning. She chose to listen to the numbnut advice buried in the comments to talk it out, and is now mad that she listened to bad advice. I didn't say this in her update because she's suffered enough, but she's also giving a false impression. Commenter 5, why would this man change when he purposely chose a woman 11 years his junior to be a free nanny, bang maid, and pay his bills? He's living in the perfect dynamic where you give and he takes all. Of course he's going to shut you down. The bang maid should never have a voice to question him. Don't waste any more of your good years on this loser. The fact that you have isolated yourself from your friends and family is so sad. Ask yourself, what do you have to show for these 6 years you've given him? Leave, but don't try to stay with him. Update 5 days later. Okay, so I know it's been some time and I had previously promised for live updates. But 1, I'm still learning how to use Reddit and I couldn't figure out how to update. And 2, a lot of crap went down since the last post. And boy, do I have the update for you all. I am overwhelmed with how many responses the original post got. I was mixed with emotions after reading it all. I ultimately needed time to process before writing in on Reddit. So I took most of the advice and I decided to wait for him to get home, to talk instead of leaving a letter, and leaving while he was at work. Before I get into the update, I want to address a lot of people's concerns about there being a possible DV situation and toxic relationship. You were all right. Update. I decided to pack up my car with all of my important items. I cleaned the house, cooked, showered, wrote out all my thoughts and what I wanted to say, because I tend to lose track of my thoughts when I'm in high-tense conflicts. I wanted to make sure he understood why I felt the need to move out after 6 years. He got home around 8:30 or 9 p.m., and I asked if he could join me on the couch to talk. He immediately starting to get anxious, asking to hurry up and get to the point. I started to read the letter, and I couldn't help but cry as I read. When I got to the part, I have decided it is best for me to move out, but if you want to work on our relationship, I am open to it. He snapped. He snatched the letter out of my hand and ripped it up. He spat in my face and called me trash. At this point, I was trying to get my dogs and leave the house. He grabbed me by my hair and started hitting me. I tried my best to defend myself. I was screaming for help, hoping the neighbors would hear me. But no one came to my rescue. I eventually lost the strength to fight back and just laid there on the floor, hoping he would get tired and stop kicking and punching me. My dogs were hysterical. My youngest dog tried to bite him and protect me, but all it did was get him more upset. I used my body to shield my dog from getting hit. By the time he stopped and I looked at the time, it was midnight. He had locked himself in the room and I could hear him crying and screaming for me to please forgive him. I didn't have the strength for anything. I sat in my blood and tears, numb and dead inside. I still can't believe what happened, and I am so disappointed in myself for letting the relationship last as long as it did. There were times he showed aggression, but he always found a way to convince me it will never happen again. When I thought he finally went to sleep around 3 a.m., I took my dogs and left. I went to my sister's apartment about 40 minutes away. Luckily, she was staying at her boyfriend's house, so I was alone. I still have not found the strength to tell anyone what happened. I called out of work and stood inside the apartment while my wounds healed. It's been about 2 weeks and I am now seeking professional help, and am planning on taking myself to the doctors to get checked out. I know I need to tell someone what happened, but I am feeling so embarrassed. Thank you all for the kind words and for the ones who advised me to talk to him. Damn you! I hope anyone dealing with a similar relationship can learn from me. Follow your gut and leave. Don't let outside opinions doubt your gut. Edit. I have videos and pictures of the injuries. I know I have to go to the police, but honestly, I'm in this psychological warfare. He has 2 kids, and I feel like I'm responsible if their dad goes to jail. This is something I know I need to overcome, and that's why I'm taking the necessary steps to mentally prepare myself by seeking professional help. If anyone has any recommendations on how to go about this, I would really appreciate it. This all feels like a nightmare that I just want to be over. I haven't told any loved ones yet because it will just make everything more real. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, sweet God. Who the hell tells a woman living in a DV situation to speak to the abuser in person before leaving? Leave quietly and quickly whilst he's away. Never ever speak to him in person. Leave a note or send a text later when you're far, far away. I hope original poster goes to the police and keeps a record selfies of her injuries. Commenter 2, I agree. But to be fair, that isn't at all how she portrayed their relationship. No mention at all of aggressive behavior. Original poster responded, "Yeah, you're right. I did leave out a lot, but mainly due to me being in denial. I realize how much I was in denial looking back. I wanted to see the good in my relationship. I was and am still very embarrassed from it all. How did I let myself go so far and become so blind to it all?" Commenter 3. As someone who left an abusive relationship, please file charges. Get this documented. I know you think it's embarrassing, but abusers will gaslight you and make you think it's your fault. It's not. I hope he hasn't tried to get a hold of you for your own safety. You and the pups deserve better. Original poster responded, "Thank you for the kind words." There are a lot of factors that are making me stall on the report. One, since it happened 2 weeks ago. Does that make my report less credible? And two, he has 2 kids. Update next day. Hi, everyone. Please keep reading. Something insane happened last night. I just wanted to start by saying I am so grateful for all of the support during this. After reading everyone's comments, and yes, I may not respond to every comment, but I do take time to read everything coming in, because Reddit and you all here are the only people I have told about this, and it's helping me put everything that has happened in perspective. I have been doing more and more research on DV. Before this relationship, I have luckily never experienced a toxic relationship. All of my past relationships have always ended amicably with love and respect. I never had to deal with any boyfriend screaming at me, intense jealousy, etc. So it was very hard for me to even notice what I was in. My ex was very good at talking. We always used to joke that he should have become a lawyer because of how convincing he knows he can be. I am in a place where I am facing everything head on now, instead of hiding in my sister's apartment, hiding from the world. I can admit, I am a survivor. What happened was not my fault, and I want to apologize for how I came across blaming the Redditors for bad advice. The emotions I am feeling now are rage. I was trying to find someone to blame for what happened to me, and the only person to blame is the damn psychopath loser ex of mine. I decided I'm going to the police today. I was feeling bad for him, which I found out is called Stockholm Syndrome. His kids are 14 and 16, and I was worried that I would be the reason they wouldn't have a father around. Taking everyone's concerns for the kids into consideration, I knew it was my responsibility to protect them from this happening to them. I called the kid's mother last night to tell her everything that happened. Just to give as much context before going into the update, the mother and I's relationship started out bad. She did not like me or respect me. She did not agree with the big age gap and always made it a point to say I was the young bimbo trying to take the father's money, even though I have always worked and paid for everything I have. I have never asked for him to ever financially take care of me. Over the 6 years, we have become more friendly. She eventually stopped bad-mouthing me to her kids and everyone else in the family, but I always felt the need to prove myself to all of his family and friends. So I called the mother to let her know what happened and that I was planning on going to the police. I even sent her pictures and videos of my black eyes, cuts and bruises, and bald spot from hair being pulled out. What happened next literally changed everything for me. I went from being sad and depressed to knowing nothing but anger. I am shaking while I write this because I'm still in shock. She responded with, "Well, I knew this would eventually happen," because it happened to her. She went on to tell me the reason they got divorced was because he was beating her in front of her kids, and after 10 years of marriage, she finally got a lawyer and divorced him. She had multiple restraining orders that he did not follow. He got arrested 2 to 3 times but never convicted of anything because she dropped charges, not wanting her kids to be without a father. I am furious. She was undocumented and her marriage was going to help her become a citizen. She ultimately got her citizenship from the Process of Violence Against Women Act through marriage to an abusive legal permanent. I am in so much anger because no one told me or warned me. I feel this could have been avoided if someone would have tried to warn me. So now, no more nice guy. Damn. This guy's is going to jail. I will be making sure he never does this to anyone again. I will keep you guys updated on the charges, etc. Thank you all for the support once again. Top comments commenter. You never think you're going to be a domestic violence survivor until it happens. Good for you for getting away. Stay safe. Anger is normal. This is healthy anger. Yes, my biggest regret is not pressing charges because now, somewhat else, there will be another me. If the girl before me who also had him arrested had continued her case against him, my own domestic violence case might have been avoided. Final update. 4 hours later, I tried to write a second update, but it was removed. I am in disbelief on how much negative feedback my posts have been getting. What is going on, people? I hate to bring focus on the negativity, but I feel the need to address the absurd comments. There are people accusing my story to be fake, and apparently there is someone out there using my story for their own entertainment. Let me make this clear. I chose to lean on Reddit because I was isolated from friends and family and was searching for support while I find the strength to tell my loved ones. When I made the original post, I had no idea it would lead to DV. I hope by me sharing it could help someone who is in a similar situation. I would like to think this a community of kindness and open-minded to each one's struggles. I know I struggle with putting into words how I feel and what's going on, especially in difficult conflicts. I might not choosing the right words or expressing myself correctly, but I am human, having a human experience. I'm doing my best. What's funny is now I find myself explaining myself to people who are committed to misunderstanding me. Thank you to everyone who was kind and supportive. It is because of you guys I found the strength to go to the police. I was going through so many emotions after finding out last night my ex's wife had been through the same thing. She never once warned me. I'm not trying to blame anyone for the situation. The only person to blame is the loser ex of mine. His ex-wife was undocumented and she stood married for 10 years while getting abused to stay in the country with her kids. She ended up going through Violence Against Women Act, through marriage to an abusive legal permanent. I wish she would have tried to warn me somehow, but I don't blame her. I'm just feeling so many emotions after this situation. Now I'm dealing with anger. So, to conclude, it's probably best for my mental health to stay off Reddit and focus on reality. I have gone to the police. I will be seeing a therapist, psychiatrist tomorrow, and putting in all the work to heal myself inside and out. I hope my story can shed light on the complexity of DV. And once again, thank you to all who was kind and supportive. Relevant comments commenter 1. I am sorry that you went through this horrific experience, and I'm so glad that you are safe now. However, in your last post, you got really angry at people who encouraged you to actually talk to your partner of several years instead of ghosting them in the middle of the day. If you didn't know he could potentially become violent, how are we supposed to know? Your original post just made it sound like you were bored with the monotony and lack of ambition. No one had any idea it would go like this. You ended your post with F you, and that was upsetting to read. You're blaming the wrong people for what he did to you. Be angry at your ex. It's not a random internet stranger's fault. Again, if you had no idea he was capable of this, how would we? Original poster responded, "Yeah, I can see that now. My emotions have been all over the place, and trying to regulate my emotions through this has been tough. I can see how my words seems like I was placing blame. And I can see how my original post didn't allure to the possibility of DV. I was and still am in a very fragile state. I was living in denial, and a lot of people did give more positivity than negativity. But because I was so fragile, I was focusing on the bad, and I let certain comments sway my decisions with talking to him. I knew something felt off, not due to the monotony of life, but because I knew in past relationships it was never difficult for me to have a healthy social life while balancing a romantic relationship. After 6 years, I was in so deep, and I didn't convey everything that was going on. He had made me believe I was the one to blame. I was crazy. So at the time of my original post, I was struggling with trusting myself. But I hope after all the updates people can see, I'm not blaming Reddit or anyone besides my ex. Commenter 2. With how poorly she treated you, and with how often you saw them fight, and with her trying to get back with him, with all of that, and then with him not showing any signs, would you have believed her? She doesn't come across as a reliable narrator. If she came to you and said he was abusive, it would have seemed suspect, no? Like maybe she was trying to drive you off to either get back at him or to get back together with him. Please don't think I'm giving her a free pass here or telling you not to feel upset. I'm not. I get it. Her behavior was not very girl's girl, and it sounds pretty unhinged overall. What I'm actually trying to do is take away some of the hurt and betrayal you may feel towards her. You have enough hurt to deal with, you don't need any extra. Anger is a secondary emotion. It's typically trying to cover up something more vulnerable, like betrayal. I'm hoping to take the sting out of her betrayal of not telling you and to help your conscience in the future when you find out he's dating again and feel guilty and like you need to reach out to her to save her, because that likely won't be safe for you to do, and it would bring him back into your life. I'm trying to point out that she will have many reasons not to believe you, and you could be putting yourself in danger for nothing. Original poster responded, "My inexperience to toxic behavior made it hard for me to see things clearly at the times it was all happening. I do come from a very sheltered family dynamic. Majority of my family members are Christians, and I was always taught to love, give grace, and forgive. I have always tried not to live a life of tit for that. I'm just so happy to be out of it all. After 6 years, I felt like I was going crazy, losing myself, doubting myself. I have never witnessed anything like those dynamics before. The more days that go by, the more my strength is coming back and clarity. I pray everyone finds peace in their lives. God has a plan. I will be focusing on myself while pursuing legal actions. The videos and pictures says it all.